Hi guys, says I'm live. So quick introduction. The name's Louis. I live in the southwest UK. I'm 56, turning 57 in July, and I would like to document my story on my life, on how I got into the carnivore diet and the benefits I've had, and just an overview of this diet. Let me just try and get this nice and comfy. So, good morning to you, wherever you are. I know many of you watch this the next day because you're all asleep, different time zones, and many of you are in America. So, I know there's quite a few of you in the UK as well, so it's quite early, guys. We are talking 9:05, and I've titled this video The Carnivore Diet, the Uprising, yeah? And I've just finished watching a video with Dr. Ken Berry and Dr. Sean Baker. And they're basically saying that they're building up a case so they can go to the authorities, the people that are in charge of recommending us the diet that is being pushed at us, the so-called moderate diet, sort of balanced diet, the pyramid that recommends all the different things, whether it's grain or fruits or veg, the one that says don't eat too much meat, don't eat too many eggs because of cholesterol, the balanced diet that we're encouraged to eat around the world, no matter what our condition is. So if we're pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic, we're still being recommended foods that will actually make the pre-diabetes or the type 2 diabetes worse. And what Dr. Ken Berry and Sean Baker are saying is that people are going to their doctors and being fobbed off with medications that are actually making them worse. And there's many they mention, but statins is one that stands out. And we're clearly being told that cholesterol is very bad for us and can cause heart attacks and strokes, even though the truth is cholesterol is very good for you. But so we're in a situation here where it's we're the minority, because there's thousands of carnivore people and keto, because you don't just have to be carnivore to get the benefits of eating fatty meat and eggs, just drinking water and things like that. Because a little bit of low carb veg, the keto way, is fine. It's reversing people's health problems. It's bringing people back, giving people back their lives. So this isn't just me saying, oh my God, you must just eat meat and nothing else. This is me saying there is an alternative to the balanced diet that we're almost forced into eating. So cereals and fruits and veg and salads and pastas and rice and vegetable oils and margarines and low-fat products and ultra-processed food that is pushed to us and made out that it's healthy for us because it's low-fat or low in calorie. But the truth is, these foods are poisonous and they're full of toxins and chemicals, and they don't do you any good. And actually, we need the animal fats in our food. We don't want it removed. We don't want all our fat cut out of our meats. And so what I'm trying to say is that it's very difficult because people are following the guidelines and thinking they're doing the right thing. They're having an orange juice, which is so bad for you, and they feel like they're doing the right thing. So you'll have someone will have a chicken pasta, yeah, and they'll think, oh, that's healthy. Or they'll have rice, some kind of rice dish that's got a mixture of ingredients, and they'll think, yes, this is good for me. Or they'll have potatoes with something. Oh, potatoes is one of my 5 a day. It's doing me good. No, because these starchy products are causing massive inflammation in our bodies and throughout our whole bodies and causing many problems. And we're not seeing these problems straight away because we're so young. But as we get older and we get into our 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, these problems are really becoming very serious, giving us autoimmune issues and arthritis and dementia and aches and pains and stomach issues and ulcerative colitis and so many other things, and brain fog. I know I keep saying the same things over and over again, but also making us feel very tired, very lethargic, and also making us feel fed up and maybe feeling depressed. And it's all because we're not giving our bodies the correct food that is ancestrally correct for our bodies, that was intended as a human species from hundreds of thousands of years ago, maybe longer. So your body's fighting because it's trying to go back to default. Your body is always trying to reset itself. It's always trying to go, all right, you've given me something wrong. I'm going to do my best to put you right. And it's always trying to get to the correct default mode. So, because your body is amazing. Your immune system is amazing. And it will bring you to optimum health. And you will live much longer lives. And you won't get serious illnesses, including cancer, if you're feeding your body the correct vitamins and nutrients and all the rest of the stuff that comes within a keto diet or a carnivore diet. But as soon as you're putting all these foods in your body, especially sugar is so bad, as you know, sugar and starchy carbs, as soon as you're putting all the wrong stuff in you, your immune system gets lost and is fighting a losing battle, and your body is fighting a losing battle and can't reset you back to default mode, can't correctly renew the damaged parts of your body, and gets very inflamed. And when you're inflamed, that is probably 99% of the reasons for most of your illnesses. Yeah. And then obviously, when your body is constantly hungry because you're eating the wrong foods, you start storing the fat, and you're getting bigger and bigger and hungrier. And it's a never-ending circle where, because your body isn't working correctly and it constantly feels hungry, that you start then becoming very unwell because you're very overweight. And this is all pushing on to the pre-diabetes, the type 2 diabetes. And actually, a carnivore diet or a keto diet will even help type 1 diabetes. And here's my butter coffee, which helps reduce hunger cravings because you still get them. Actually, last night I had lamb ribs. I had, what else did I have in my lamb ribs? I had pork bellies. I had a small omelette. And my naughty bit, I had about 6 pieces of pineapple. So I do sometimes have a small amount of fruit. Like yesterday, I had the same meal, but I had about 6 strawberries. So I will have a bit of low carb veg, but I just find that when I get this very dried out feeling, because if you eat a lot of meat, I think you do get a bit of a dried out feeling, that a tiny bit of, like a low calorie thing like strawberries or blackberries, just gives you that little bit of relief. It's not much, you don't need much, but it helps me. And anyway, I'm going to give you my experience of, because my point of this video was I'm saying that Dr. Ken Berry and Dr. Sean Baker are building up a case against these massive corporations to say, hang on, what we're being sold is wrong. What we're being recommended to eat is wrong. Look at the success rates of these thousands and thousands of people that are getting well because they're ignoring medical advice. They're coming off medication. They're listening to the advice being given by people on the keto or the carnivore diet, because the keto diet, there are loads and loads of proven cases of people getting better from moving away from a standard diet that we're all recommended and moving to meat and eggs and fish and water and salt, etc. Fatty meat, of course. And people are now, there's loads of proof now that people are getting better, not just losing weight. They're getting their health back. They're almost rejuvenating and feeling younger, and they're getting their lives back. There's so many proven cases now that the high-profile people like Anthony Chaffee, Dr. Ken Berry, Sean Baker, and many more are now standing up, and they're clearly saying on the YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, whichever platforms they're using, and they're saying, no, we disagree with you. You are wrong. And they're taking a chance here because these massive corporations, they could take them to litigation, couldn't they, if they really wanted to, because they got a bottomless pit of money to fight these people. And so far, from watching all these different interviews, they haven't been challenged yet. At the moment, the big, massive corporations and the government bodies that are also recommending, these heart foundations and things like that, that are recommending the balanced diet that is completely wrong, that are saying that cholesterol is bad for you, etc., are all staying quiet. They're all staying quiet. So they're allowing the Ken Berries, the Anthony Chaffees, to speak up and massively disagree with what's going on around the world, because these people are doctors, and they are saying that most of the doctors that are treating us are giving us incorrect advice. They're medicating us to the point where all they're doing is numbing the effects of our illnesses. They're not curing anything. All they're doing is prolonging and dulling the symptoms. But then what happens is, because there is no cure, actually there is a cure, that's eating the correct foods. But because they don't see the carnivore diet or keto diet as a cure, and they will just recommend against the carnivore diet and the keto diet, and they'll say that it's bad for you, and it could cause strokes and heart attack, etc. So what we're doing as carnivore eaters or keto eaters, the people that are standing up and going, no, I'm not listening to my doctor, I'm not taking any more pills, I'm not taking any more medication, and then people are eating the way that they're being advised to by these amazing people on all these different social platforms, and they're following the guidelines of people like Dr. Ken Berry and Anthony Chaffee, Dr. Baker, and they're getting better, and their health has come back to them. And even people are even getting themselves better when they've been told they've got cancer, and they're, with the help of long-term fasting and eating the correct foods, they're even helping themselves in that way. So I'm going to give you my little story of what happened to me. So I'm going to show you this. So this is prednisolone rectal foam. Right now, this is quite an old box. This is 6 years ago. I never took it. And let me just tell you the story. My situation with ulcerative colitis. I'll tell you a story. So I was this is going back way back. I was in my 40s. I would say as long as 15 years ago. I noticed that I felt inflamed in the area where I go to the toilet. Yeah. And I also noticed that I'd lost my energy level. So where I was quite a fast runner, I would run with my children and they would race me. I just know one day on the beach, my son goes to me, he was only about 12. My son goes to me, come on, I'll give you a race like we always did. Yeah. And when I went to race, I couldn't accelerate. I couldn't run fast. I had this weird feeling that almost like being a very old man, like I was 90, and I couldn't race him. I could run, I could skip fast, like walk fast against him, but the zoomth had gone, the spark, which was a bit of a shock to me. I was only in my early 40s, and I remember thinking something's not right here. So, and then around that time, I started going to the toilet 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day. And I felt swollen in my colon area. So at first I just tried to ignore it, thought it would pass. Now, I remember I was completely unaware that it could be being caused by the foods that I was putting in my mouth. So I will tell you what I was eating back then. I was having curries, pastas, spaghettis, pizzas, burgers, fast food meals. I was also eating quite a lot of salad because I liked salad, and I was eating a lot of fruit. Fruit was one of my favorite things to have. So I did eat really a mixture of all foods. I will say this: meat was probably the thing I ate the least. I wasn't really big on eggs. I did eat sweets and chocolates and cakes and donuts. So I ate a bit of everything. Now, when you're in your 40s, I was quite strong because I've always exercised. I've always done a bit of running. So I actually started leaking a bit. Now, this is a bit embarrassing. I actually started leaking from down here, and I would go to bed sometimes and I would leak, and I was so embarrassed because my wife is led next to me, my beautiful wife, and I would hide it from her because it's just embarrassing. But she noticed I was going to the toilet 6, 7, 8 times a day, and eventually it got to the point where I couldn't leave the house before 11:30 a.m. because I was worried I was going to have an accident. You imagine how embarrassing that is. And I'll give you an example. If we were going on an aeroplane, now there's no way I could get on that aeroplane because there was a chance I was going to have an accident. If we were going on a coach somewhere or a long distance journey, I would if I had that feeling of going to the toilet, I literally could toilet myself. Could you imagine how embarrassing that is? And this actually did happen a few times. I know this sounds really over the top. I needed a nappy. I needed an adult nappy to protect me just in case I went to the toilet. So because things had got so bad, I decided I was going to go to the doctor. So I booked my appointment with the doctor. He gave me a rectal exam. He did say that it was inflamed. I had no idea. I'd never heard of ulcerative colitis or IBS or IBD. I just didn't know anything about any. I just wanted to know why, in the last few years, in my 40s, don't forget I'm 56 now, this was happening to me, and why my energy levels had changed. I just didn't understand it. So I went to the doctor. He referred me to I don't even know what they're called, but I had to have a rectal exam, which I will say to you was the most atrocious thing I've ever been through. So the doctor led me down. He had a little look. He said, "You're inflamed." How long do you do? I've been on it for, hi DC, where are you from? I'm in UK. I've been on it for 10 months. I'm going to tell you now my embarrassing story of my doctor's experience. Now, the whole point of my story is to explain this to you, this very, very potent, toxic medicine that my doctor gave me to try and stop my problem with my ulcerative colitis. And it's basically a very strong steroid. Look, there's a metasulfobenzoate sodium. Yeah, it's like a lot of people know it as Predphone. So I lie down. The doctor gets out this thing this long. He's going to take a swab. There's a little tooth at the end of it. You imagine a long stick that's going to go up inside you that is that long with a tiny camera on the end and that can also take a swab. I do Carnivore from year. I'm not sure what that means. From year. Could you just, DC? Could you just tell me that? Finish off that sentence. And good morning to you, DC. So I'm lying down. I am scared. Plus or minus. I do Carnivore from year plus or minus. I'm not really sure what you mean. But so how long have you been doing Carnivore for, DC? So I'm lying down. I honestly tell you, I was extremely scared from around year 1 So you've been doing it for a year, is that correct? So the doctor comes out with this long thing. No, there was nothing to soothe the pain. And how's it going for you? Is it working for you? I'm gonna put some hot water in my coffee. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna put some water in my coffee, guys. So I'm telling you my embarrassing story. Right, let me just roll the kettle a bit. So the kids are at school. My wife is a teacher and she's working, so I got the house to myself. I'll just be a second. Right, it should be done now. Let's get my... Hi guys, sorry that I disappeared. Got me coffee, my butter coffee. And my dogs are keeping me company as well. I got 2 Jack Russells. They look like they're both asleep at the moment. So let's just see what DC is saying. Okay, right, let's have a look. Around 1 year, yes, please. Okay, I'll tell you my little story, and then you can tell me your story if that's okay with you, DC. What country did you say you're in? Right, so I'm lying down. I'm in the hospital. I honestly was shaking. I was so scared. I really, this person who I don't know, a complete stranger, with no pain, nothing to stop the pain, and he didn't use any like Vaseline or something so it went in easy. In the Netherlands, but I'm Italian. All right, my wife is half Italian, DC. And what is your name, DC? Or is it DC? So I'm Greek Cypriot. From my parents were both born in Cyprus, but I was born in England. So I'm born and bred Greek Cypriot, but in Weston-super-Mare, UK, near Bristol. So my children, I've got 5 children with my wife, and they're all quarter Italian. So we share that. So I'm lying there, and he comes out with his probe. Now, he starts putting it inside me. He only put it in about that far. And it was painful, but I could take it. So then he goes to me, oh, I need to go a bit further. Now, this is when the pain became excruciating. And he ended up inserting this probe. You tell me what they're called, because I've forgotten what it's called. Yeah. There was a camera where you could see things. And he went inside me. He was saying it was inflamed, and then he was saying it was ulcerative colitis, and that he could see small blisters. Yeah, that probably were part of the pain problem, because I did sometimes have a bit of blood loss sometimes. And he ended up, and I remember this was the worst part for me. He said, I'm going to go all the way to the upper colon. Now, at this point, I was nearly in tears. I'm a grown man. I can take a lot of pain, me. And I knew I had to just let him do it. So he went all the way in me, right up to here, inside me. And it was the worst pain I've ever gone through, ever. And he frightened the hell out of me. And he just seemed like he didn't care. This was a doctor. So at the end of it, he goes, yep, I think you've got ulcerative colitis. There are some blisters inside you as I go up. And he goes to me, unfortunately, this is the truth. This is what he said to me. This is 15 years ago. You are going to have this problem for the rest of your life. You're going to be on medication for the rest of your life. And eventually, when you get older, we will probably have to remove part of your colon, and even a possibility of a colostomy bag. Could you imagine being told that in your 40s? And I've lived a life where I was always exercising and running and I would weight train, a very active person that loved being outdoors. And he has just told me, oh, thank you. This is really enjoying your content. 64 years old here and starting to thrive on Carnivore. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Kev Rob Shaw. Tell me where you're from. Anyway, so I'm going to get to the good bit of the story now. So I've just told you the hell I went through with the doctor shoving this thing up here. He's just told me that I'm going to be on medication for the rest of my life. Now, if you take that for the rest of your life, you're going to get very, very unwell because it does not cure you. All it does is give you loads of very serious side effects. Hello, Scarborough. I'd love to go there. I'm in Weston-super-Mare, so we're both in seaside places. And I spent my life working on the seaside in Weston-super-Mare, in cafes and bars and takeaways. Anyway, so I goes back to my wife, and I am gutted. I'm like, I'm going to be on medicine for the rest of my life that isn't going to cure me. It's just going to soothe the symptoms. It's going to reduce the inflammation. Now, don't forget, I don't know that the foods I'm eating are causing the inflammation. He never said one word to me about changing my diet. Diet had nothing to do with it. He said to me, even though you and me know as carnivore eaters that diet was the reason I had become unwell. So he said to me, you're on medication for the rest of your life. We may have to remove your colon. You're never going to be the same again. So I went back to my wife and I said, well, I'm knackered. My life is finished. I'm never going to feel young again. I'm never going to have that energy spark again. And all I've got to look forward to is loads of medication, the possibility of operations to remove my part of my colon, and a colostomy bag. That's my future. Could you imagine how I felt? But I did say this to her. Now, this is my instinct kicking in. I said to her, I am never going back to that doctor again, ever. No one is ever going to put that long rod up inside me again. I don't care what medicine they want me to take. I don't care what they're predicting for my future. I would rather leak and go to the toilet 8 times a day than go through that hell. So this is how my life went on. I carried on leaking and going to the toilet 8 times a day when I had a flare-up. Because don't forget, when you got ulcerative colitis or IBS, IBD problems, things get bad when you have a flare-up. So I would go through phases of my colon would not be so inflamed and I would be okay for a few months. But then it would flare up again. And this is what I started doing. I never went back to the doctor again. And I never went to the hospital again. But I was allowed to order this Predphone. And so what I would do was, if I was going to go on holiday, I would squirt some of this anally, which is so embarrassing to say. And this would reduce the inflammation, but only for 2-3 days. And then the symptoms would come back even worse. This actually made me worse because it would reduce the inflammation, so I could go on holiday or have a day trip, or if I was going on a long journey in a car and I was worried that I was going to poo myself, this did prevent just for 1 or 2 days. Now, if I ever tried to take this for more than a week, all of my inflammation got a lot worse. And not only was I running to the toilet, I would run to the toilet 20 times. When I'm using this, after 3 or 4 days, I would be going to the toilet 20 times a day. This so-called medicine that was prescribed to me by a doctor that was supposed to help cure me actually made me a lot worse. So eventually, this is what happened. I started eating less. I stopped taking this. And by eating less, I had less food going in me, so then less of an urge to run to the toilet. But whenever I had a flare-up, I would nearly poo myself. Yeah? So I'm in a muddle. I've gone through over 10 years of just waiting for the flare-ups to come and go. I've still never been told that my diet was causing the ulcerative colitis. Never in 15 years, not one person said it to me. So I've told this story already, but my brother, about 10 months ago, my stomach had ballooned, which I think was also something to do with my ulcerative colitis, as well as my diet. And I felt very unwell, very ill, and I was still going to the toilet 6 to 8 times a day. My brother messaged me saying, "Louis, I think you're going to have a heart attack. I think you're going to die. You don't look well." My face was bloated. My whole body just felt unwell. I felt like I was 70. And my twin brother said, "You need to do something about it, because I really think you're going to have a heart attack." So this is when I started looking up the carnivore diet. And the way I stumbled on the carnivore diet is my brother recommended to me fasting, because his wife had fasted. Now, I always thought fasting was really weird. I always thought, fasting? That's for religious people. Was it? And when he told me that his wife was fasting, I was like, that's just weird. Yeah. So then I started looking into fasting and the benefits of fasting. And I come across people like Dr. Ken Berry. And they were explaining about ketosis and how fasting can be really good for you. But then whilst I was listening to the fasting advice, which, by the way, I highly recommend fasting, 1 meal a day did definitely make a massive difference. It's all about selling. Oh, yes. Yeah, I agree. They get a commission on the medication that they're recommending. I know. So anyway, here we go with so I'm looking at the fasting. Dr. Ken Berry and Anthony Chaffee and Paul Saladino, and there was quite a few others as well. And they're all saying, "Oh, we're on the carnivore diet. The carnivore diet has transformed our lives." Because Dr. Ken Berry, he tells you in great detail how he was obese and had serious medical problems, and that becoming a carnivore gave him back his health, transformed his life. So I'm looking at all these different videos on YouTube, and there's thousands of amazing people on YouTube that are recommending the carnivore diet and the keto diet. And I'm like, I'm going to try it. Now, not even for 1 second did I think that the carnivore diet and keto was going to get rid of my ulcerative colitis. I never went on the carnivore diet to cure my ulcerative colitis. And another wake-up call that I had just had, very coincidentally, when my brother phoned me, was I'd had a blood test and my doctor said I was pre-diabetic. Now, that really worried me, being pre-diabetic, because you're all thinking, oh my God, I'm going to become type 2 diabetic. So this made me start looking into what causes pre-diabetic. Now, even then, when I was told I was pre-diabetic, I was not once told about what I eat, to watch what I eat. Hello, mate. How you going? I'm just waffling on about my story to do with my experience with my doctor. And so I hope you're having a great day. Anyway, so I'm going to carry on with this story. And that is, so I've been told I'm pre-diabetic. So I look into what it's like to be pre-diabetic. And the doctor never said to me, change your diet. He never said that to me. He just said, you're pre-diabetic. I recommend you don't have sugar in your tea and coffee. And he sent me off and he goes, oh, come back in 3 months. We'll do another test to see if you've become type 2. He literally fobbed me off. Now, so when I'm listening to Dr. Ken Berry and Anthony Chaffee and all the rest of the guys, and they start explaining how the diet that we're all eating, so grains and fruits and veg and pasta and pizza and rice and potatoes and starchy foods and sugar and chocolates and donuts, and explaining to us that this so-called moderate balanced diet that we're all being recommended is actually making us very ill. Now, a big shock to me was when they were saying cereals were making us unwell, grain and brown bread, brown rice, wheat pasta. All of it was making my ulcerative colitis much worse. The inflammation being caused by all these foods that I'd been used to eating, yeah. And then these doctors on YouTube are saying, that's awesome. Always good to hear about your journey and how it developed. Thank you. Yeah. And So then I started going, oh, meat's good for me. It's okay to eat meat. Cholesterol's not going to do me any harm. And then I'm like, oh, I can eat eggs. We were told in England that eggs were seriously bad for us. Oh, the fat in meat is good for us. Don't cut the fat off the meat. Keep the fat on your bacon. Use butter instead. We were told butter is not good for us. Use butter instead of margarine. Margarine's poison. So I'm learning all these things. Seed oils, vegetable oils, which we all cook our food in, is poison. It's causing inflammation, causing serious problems. Wow. So I'm learning all these things. Then I find out vegetables have got loads of salad and vegetables and fruits have got oxalates in them, toxins in them, defense mechanisms in them, anti-nutrients in them, so that they're also could be the cause of my inflammation. So then I started thinking, yeah, whenever I eat chips or potatoes or crisps, Doritos, I was getting a bad case of running to the toilet. So I'm getting a wake-up call here. Hi, Paul from Leicester. Thanks for joining in. So I'm getting a wake-up call here of, right, oh my God, I actually have made myself ill. Everything wrong with me, I caused by what I was putting in this mouth. So all of these amazing people on YouTube are making me go, oh, I've actually been, it's like suicide. It's like self-destruction. So I'm like, wow, it's my fault. It's my fault I'm ill. I wasn't born like this. I didn't inherit it. It wasn't a genetic thing from my parents. It wasn't something I caught, a disease I've caught. It was me following the wrong advice, eating the wrong foods, eating too much sugar, too much pasta, rice, bread, the wrong oils, not eating enough meat, which we were ancestrally designed to eat from hundreds of thousands of years ago. Not eating correctly. I was giving my body the wrong food, which was seriously harming my immune system, which was inflaming my whole body. Because I was in my early 40s and every part of my body was aching. This is another thing. I couldn't walk down the stairs. When I was walking down the stairs, I had to walk one step at a time because my joints were so achy and stiff. I had to walk down like this, like a blooming robot. So I start doing the carnivore diet. Luckily, I love meat. So I started on lamb ribs, chicken, and omelettes and pork bellies. I completely stopped sugar, rice, pasta, breads, all the crap. So ultra-processed foods. And I was just eating the meat, eggs, fish, omelettes. I was eating cheese. Water. I'd stop the fizzy drinks. I'd stop the alcohol. And within 2 days, I woke up and I'm like, wow, I actually feel different. I can't even explain it to you. I said this yesterday on my live. I had this weird, I get emotional thinking about it. I felt, don't forget, I'm 56. I felt that feeling I had when I was 18. And I remember I had this memory of being 18 again, how I felt as a kid with my mates doing my weightlifting. I'm like, that's weird. And I said to my wife, I feel different. I don't know why I feel different. Anyway, as the days went on, I was waking up with this massive boost of energy again, like when I was 18. And I'm like, this can't be right. So by not eating sugar and pasta and rice and bread and chocolate bars and cakes and snacking as well. Don't forget, I stopped the snacking. Yeah. And I was just eating one very large meaty meal. I had this weird energy. Like, I can't even explain it. So my energy levels, if we put it onto a number, my energy levels were 2. Now, 3 days after I started the carnivore diet, my energy levels were 10. 10. And I'm saying to my wife, I don't know what's happening here. I suddenly have this crazy energy. Like I feel, instead of feeling 65, I felt 25. And I thought, this is actually working. This carnivore diet is working. And then you get the backlash from friends and family. You shouldn't be eating all that meat, you're going to get cancer. My wife's best friend said, I'm worried about your, my wife's best friend said, I'm worried about your husband, he's going to die. So then you get the backlash from friends and family. You shouldn't be doing that. Cholesterol's bad for you. It's going to kill you. It was like, so I'm facing that. I'm facing all of my family and friends saying to me, you're going to die because you're eating too much meat. But I'm seeing all these benefits that my health is transforming over days. Let me just see. Yeah, I know it did. I've read your story, and an awakening happened to the proper human diet. Love it. Just amazing. Yes, it was an awakening. And I'm still there now. 10 months later, I'm still having this awakening. I'm waking up, running around the house. I got 6 kids and my wife, and they're like, I'm singing. I'm walking around the house singing in the morning at 7 in the morning. And my wife's like, why are you singing? I never used to sing in the morning. This is the, so let me get to the best part of the story. My pooing, I don't want to use the word pooing, but I'm going to. I started pooing once a day. It was a miracle, a miracle. And do you know what? The more I got into the carnivore diet, I started pooing every other day. And I'm like saying to my wife, I'm only pooing 4 times a week now. I used to poo as many as 8 times a day. And if I was having a flare up, 20 times a day, and I would sit on the toilet all day. And I said to my wife, I can't believe this. And my weight started coming off me. I lost 1.5 stones in 2 weeks. Now, if you're in America, I lost, I don't know, 20 pounds. I don't know, and so my ulcerative colitis stopped. This thing that I'd had 15 years. My weight fell off me. My skin started going smooth. My teeth, my gums stopped bleeding. My energy levels went whoosh and stayed that way. And I felt superhuman. And I started doing things around the house that I never was going to do, that I put off for years. I started doing things in my life that I had put off for 10 years. I was out fixing everything, fixing my car, fixing the garden. I was doing longer runs, exercising more. And I was saying to my kids, come on, let's go for a run. Come on. I wanted to race my children, and my children are very athletic. And I gradually became the fittest person in the house. Could you imagine that? I've got a 16-year-old son, a 14-year-old son, a 17-year-old daughter. My wife is a gymnastics, and I had become fitter. My muscles started popping more, and I started, my waist size, because I was a 33 waist size, my waist size went down to 29. So I was putting all my trousers on that I hadn't worn for 15 years. The last time I wore those trousers, I was in my mid-20s. I started putting the t-shirts on that didn't used to fit me. All my clothes that didn't fit me started fitting me again. And then I started looking in the mirror and going, my God, you're starting to look younger. Now, remember, I'm 57 in July. I do dye my hair, yeah, because I do have grey hair. But I'm telling you now, I definitely, I'm going to have a boast, do not look 56. And I shouldn't say it myself. I should let other people say it. So then I got people coming up to me in the street that knew me before going, you've lost loads of weight. You look really well. Obviously, as soon as I tell them it's carnivore diet or keto diet, you get a bad reaction from people because they're all scared of meat. They're all scared of eggs. And that's a good question. All of my family are amazed about my weight loss and my health coming back, me not being pre-diabetic anymore, me being fit and strong. Obviously, they all love me. They want me to live forever. But I tell you now, not one of them will accept that the carnivore diet is the reason I got better. They still say cholesterol is bad for you, and cholesterol will give you gout and a heart attack. And even my daughter's teacher said to her, give your dad a warning that he shouldn't be eating meat and eggs all the time because he'll get gout. Yeah. And even my wife says to me, I don't think you should be eating as much meat as you do. I think it could give you a stroke or a heart attack. Yeah. So unfortunately, yes, they fully support me because they see I've got better, but they don't believe in the carnivore diet. I can't convince them. I've tried and I've tried. I try to give them the backstory. I explain to them that there's doctors and scientists and tens of thousands of people that have been cured, that have reversed all their illnesses, that have come off medication, and they just don't believe me. And even if I say to them, look, just watch it for yourselves, go on Google, do your own research, go on YouTube, do your own research, they're not interested. They believe they have been brainwashed by society for the last 70 years. The moderate balanced diet that we're all recommended, the pyramid diet, is the right way to go. And if you tell any of my family that orange juice is bad for you, they laugh at you. When I say to my family, you do know orange juice is worse than Coke, they laugh at me. Yeah. And when I say to them, you shouldn't be eating rice and potatoes and that salads and vegetables can be bad for you, they laugh at me. Yeah. They just do not believe it. And when I push fatty meat, when I talk about the fat in meat being really good for you, they think it's crazy. And I build up my fat. I put my fat into a jar and I use my fat to cook. Let me just show you. 1 second. So this is how I cook. I'll just grab you how I keep my fat, and I'll just quickly grab you a couple of my things I eat. Let's have a look. I've only got a frozen. Right, here we go. Let's get it out. That's in my fridge. Here we go. Right, sorry guys. So this is what I'm cooking. This little jar. I've got 2 of these, and this is the fat from my pork bellies and my lamb ribs that I save up, and I use this to cook my omelettes and cook anything. I never throw away my fat. And we know, as carnivore people, we all know that fat, that's your energy. You don't need the sugar. Your energy is there. There's 3 ways, I think, of getting energy: fat, sugar, and protein. And I'm telling you, this is so good for me. And then I'll quickly show you loads of bacon. I'll have egg and bacon today for lunch, cooked in that fat. And I'll keep the fat on the bacon. And then just push this over a bit. So there's my pork bellies. And I have 2 packs of these because my kids like them. My family have all started eating loads of meat. And this is my lamb ribs, but they're a bit frozen. And then I'll also have ribeye steaks. And what I will say to you guys is that all of my family have started eating a lot of meat. They're against the diet, but they all love the meat. They love the steaks. My daughter last night was begging me for some pork bellies and some lamb ribs. So they're all addicted to meat already, just like I am. So let me just read some of these things. So let's have a look. We have the same sort. You didn't have ulcerative colitis. Tell me what you did have. And carnivore, no ways. They don't know what I mean to you. It is a medicine food. I know the space you're in. Yes, it definitely is a medicine, 100%. Your body runs at its optimum when it's absorbing the correct stuff. This is what I've seen this thousands and thousands of times. I really enjoy watching Anthony Shaffer and Dr. Ken Berry. I love it. And Dr. Sean Baker. It's like heaven. I'm learning and learning and learning. I'm absorbing all this information that I need to understand why I'm having these benefits from eating meat and eggs and fat. I want to know, and I want to share it, which is, I think many carnivores feel the same way. They want to share the benefits, the health benefits. They want to tell people that they're all being poisoned. People are walking around like zombies, looking really unwell. And you just want to go up to them and say, do you know what you're doing to yourself? Do you know how much you're harming yourself? You got people very overweight, pale, looking sick, and they're only in their 30s and 40s. And I'm like, you're doing that to yourself. This is what's going through my mind. When I go to the supermarket and I see very unwell people, I want to go up to them and say to them, stop eating all the sugars and the bad foods. Start eating meat and eggs and fatty meat. Stop drinking fizzy drinks and alcohol. And you'll get better. I want to say it to them, but I can't because they'll probably tell me to go away. They'll probably swear at me. So unfortunately, until people are ready to receive the information, I can't push it on people because they don't like it. You get a bad reaction. I'm glad my kids has an open mind and also tried the carnivore diet and saw the impact of the lives on another tool in the box of life. So I got really bad eyesight. I always have done since I was a kid. But yeah. And if you've got a kid, I think my kids will get on the same page as me when they're older. Yeah. I think they're still quite young. And let's have a look. Carnivore diet. Got a channel. Follow the journey. Got a channel. Yes, I'm on your channel. I'm on your channel, aren't I? I'm sure I am. Yes, I am. So anyway, so there's my butter coffee again. That stops me getting too hungry. Right. So basically, I'm coming to the end of things now. So the point of this video is that I ignored the doctor's advice. I stopped taking the medication. I went through hell for about 10, 15 years, just going through these flare-ups. I found the carnivore diet. It completely cured my ulcerative colitis. So this is a distant memory. If you look at the year, it's 25th of April, 2018. So my inner instinct just said to me, don't take this crap. This is poison. It's steroids. It's bad for you. It's going to make you more ill. And I have my colon. I've got my health back. The carnivore diet saved my life. The people on YouTube pushing the carnivore diet saved my life. I owe them a massive thank you, especially Dr. Ken Berry, because I watched him the most at first. But I tell you now, at the moment, I'm watching Anthony Shafee a lot. So I'm fully back to normal. I have no ulcerative colitis, no gut issues. My gums don't bleed anymore. My energy levels are there every day. My weight is down to about 10 stone 11, 10 stone 10. I used to be 12 and a half stone. I know this is English stones, not Americans. And I wake up with a spark. I run down those stairs that I used to struggle to walk down. Yeah. So you guys out there, if any of you have got aches and pains and achy joints, it can all go. It looks to me like most of you are carnivores anyway, but what I find is that tomorrow I'll get a load of messages from non-carnivores, and I think most of the people that watch my videos that are not carnivores don't believe it. I think they watch it and they think, nah, it's not true. It's only when the ones that try it out and get through the first month, because I think you need to get through the first month to really, if you get through the first month, I think you're a carnivore for life. And have you heard about the carnivore glow? Now, who's the guy, the one, I forget his name now. It'll come to me in a minute. But the carnivore glow, you watch people that are on the carnivore diet, they've got a glow about them. All the famous ones, all the well-known ones. And even if you watch the people that are telling you their success stories, they've got a carnivore glow. And I'm like, guys, I bet you if you're carnivore, you've got a carnivore glow and you look better. Oh, thanks a lot. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert. I have done loads and loads of research. I really have done. I've thousands of hours of research. I love it, but I'm not technical. Yeah. If you want me to talk about, if you listen to the doctors and the scientists on YouTube, they're very technical about how the body works. That isn't me. Even though I do understand it now I've got myself to a point where when I'm listening to the YouTube doctors, and they're talking about HDL, LDL, A1C, and LDL, and blood sugars and all that, I do understand it now. It took me a while. It's starting to sink in. And to be honest with you, I just want to be the guy at home who, using the carnivore diet or keto diet, has made himself well and got his life back and lost loads of weight because I know there's many people that are going onto the carnivore diet just because they want to lose weight, and I don't blame them. And it is a very, very fast way to lose weight. And the carnivore diet is the only diet you will eat that stops you feeling hungry. No other diet will do that. A low calorie deficit diet will never stop you feeling hungry. If you do the carnivore diet correctly and really fill yourself up with meat and only eat twice a day and stop all snacks, avoid breakfast, you won't feel hungry. Your body will let you know when it wants some more meat and more fat, eggs, etc. And your body clock on hunger gets fixed. And you do have your bad days. You know, Steak and Butter Girl spoke about the Globe. Kerry Mann too. Adam Lacey. Yeah. And I do watch Steak and Butter Girl. I watch all of them because I love them all. I find them all fascinating. And so what I'm saying is that I've got myself to a really good place where I've got my life back, my health back. I think my wife fancies me a bit more now. I know that's a bit corny, but come on, we want our wife to look at us and fancy us. And because I've slimmed out and I'm more muscly now and I've been running more, so I'm in good shape. I'm doing all the flexing videos. You've seen those guys. I feel that me and my wife are in a better place. I also think that my kids, instead of looking at me as this old man sat on the sofa with a big belly that looks unwell, that's changed now. My kids can see that I'm strong and fit and confident and happy. And so I think that my friendship with my own children has massively improved because two of my children are very young. One is 3, one is 7. Yeah, I want to run around with my little kids. I want to still be running around with my children when I'm 90. And me and my brother, my twin brother, who we're 56, we just had it in our head that we were going to die in our 60s because a lot of the Greek Cypriots community in my town died in their 60s, had heart attacks in their 60s. So me and my twin brother, his name's Andreas, we were like, oh, do you know what? In our 60s, we'll die. We're not well. We're putting on weight. We've got big bellies. We're not strong and we can't run anymore. And we had just accepted, yeah, we're going to die in our 60s. Could you imagine how ridiculous that is? When you're on a carnivore diet, you ain't dying in your 60s. When you're on a carnivore diet, you're trying to get to 100. Yeah. I've had quite a few messages from people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I'm telling you now, there is no age to go on the carnivore. You can go on the carnivore any age. And all of you guys out there, I bet you if you go on carnivore diet and you stick to it and keto, you'll probably make it to your 90s, guys. Isn't that a nice thought? So 70 now is young. 60 now is young. I feel like a baby. I'm 57 in July. I'm a baby, yeah? Because I feel like I'm in my 20s. And there's no way that I'm dying in my 60s. My father died when he was 64. That's a joke, yeah? And that was caused by, obviously, he was a smoker, but not just that, his diet as well. So I think everyone on this live now knows that if you stick with the carnivore diet, you're going to live much longer. I think Dr. Ken Berry said that if you're eating the wrong foods, you will live 3 years less every 10 years. You imagine that? That means in 30 years, you will live 9 years less. You will die 9 years younger. Have I done the maths correct? Could you imagine that? You lose 3 years for every 10 years. That's just crazy. If someone went up to you and said to you, do you know what? You're eating sugar and carbs and starchy foods and all the rest of it, but it's going to cost you 3 years of your life. You'd laugh at them. You'd be like, no one's taken my 3 years. And then you say to them, oh, by the way, that's going to happen every 10 years. You're going to lose 10. You're going to die at 65 instead of 75 because you eat sugar and because you eat too many carbs. Yeah, because you're not eating enough meat. It's a no-brainer, isn't it? So all right, thanks, mate. Have a great day. I'm going to go in a sec as well now. I've waffled a lot. So I'm going to end the video, the live, by just saying the carnivore diet does work. And at the moment, the big people on carnivore diet on YouTube are building a case against the massive corporations, the governments, to say you are wrong and you are making everyone around the world ill. You are pushing a diet and that's making everyone ill, that is forcing people onto medications. You're over medicating people, and it's all about profit. And all the foods you're pushing is about profit. And the medication that people are taking is not curing them, it's just numbing the effects and long-term making them even more ill. You're not reversing pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes. You're creating heart attacks and stroke. You're telling people not to eat the food that you should be eating, which is meat, eggs, fatty meat. You're telling people that cholesterol is bad for them when it's very good for them. And you're promoting foods that are very bad for you, like low diet foods, low calorie foods, cut your fat off your foods. And all these massive doctors are saying we've had enough, and we're building up evidence and studies against this massively incorrect advice that's been shoved at us and literally killing us. And these guys are getting ready to put up a fight, and it takes a lot of courage because these big corporations and these governments have a lot of money behind them. And Dr. Ken Berry today in particular, I watched his video with Sean Baker, was saying it's coming, the time is coming, we're going to stand up to you guys. And he was talking about he's got this new idea on how he's going to prove to all these people that we're all being lied to and misled. And that's it. I'm going to end it at that. And I'm going to join that fight. And I want the world to know that we are being killed off by bad advice and by being over medicated. And a lot of us are dying in our 60s. Thanks, guys. All the best. I've really enjoyed this. It's nice to have a chat with my wife and kids out of the house because there's no noise. You take care. I'm sending you all love. Peace out to you. And stick with the carnivore diet. Even on the bad days, stick with it. Cheers, guys. I'm going to give you a wave as I go. Thank you. Thank you, AMC. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Kev. Everyone that joined in, thank you.